Okay, going through the multiple choice paper. So, question 1, diagram shows a prokaryotic cell. So, Y is the nucleoid, and Z is a ribosome. Because it's a prokaryote, it's going to be a 70S ribosome, so the answer must be D. And then question 2, the micrograph shows some onion cells, so it's a mitotic index question, so you have to do the number of cells that have visible nuclei, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 2 that are there, so it's 2 over 10, which obviously is 0.2, so the answer is B. Then C, we've got Goethe and Grendel, looking at the surface area of blood cells. Which diagram best illustrates Goethe and Grendel's conclusion drawn from this experiment? Well, it's got to be a bilayer, so it's either A, C, or D, but there's nothing about proteins there, so it's got to be C. Question number 4, looking at these unicellular green algae. The magnification, what's the length of one cell? So that's I. I can't measure this because it's on the screen, not on your paper, but the answer was C, 20 micrometers. That's not very helpful. So you would have measured like one of these lengths. I'm guessing it's going to have been around, I don't know, maybe like 10 millimeters. 10 millimeters, that's the image size, and you want the actual size, so it's the image size over the magnification. So that's 10, we're going to put it into micrometers divided by 500, which gives you 20 micrometers. There you go. Okay, so the diagram shows a product of a polymerization reaction. So what is it? So we've got NCC, so that's 1 amino acid, NCC, that's 2 amino acids, NCC, that's 3 amino acids. So it's a tripeptide, so we can cross out A and C, and then it's formed by the condensation of these 3 amino acids. So the answer is D. So then question 6, excuse me, sorry, activity of amylase. So what statement effect of the pH of amylase can be concluded? So the A oryzae has the highest optimum pH, so that's the squares. So that's got the optimum pH there. So that's actually the lowest. A change in pH affect amylase most in the B licheniformis, which is the triangles. So that's definitely no. The optimum pH is 6 in B subtilis. So yes, that would be correct. And let's just check. Amylase activity at pH 8 is lowest in licheniformis. No, it's lowest in that one. So it is indeed C. Okay, 7. What is the arrangement of components of nucleotides in a single DNA strand? So we're just looking at this sugar base phosphate. It has to be A because it's that, isn't it? Which would be phosphate sugar base, which is that bit on the side. Action spectrum for 2 different photosynthetic organisms. So we've got the crop plants here, we've got the ulva there. So ulva photosynthesize is more than crop plants with red wavelengths. No. The answer is B, crop plant photosynthesize more than ulva in green light, because green light's in the middle, isn't it? So that's there. So it's B. Okay, number 9. What describes the structure of glycogen? So glycogen is branch, so it can't be that one, it can't be that one. Okay. So branch polymer of alpha D glucose linked by 1,6 glycosidic linkages with branches linked by that, not that. It's branch alpha D glucose linked by 1,4 linkages, the branch linked by 1,6, so it's D. Then 10, what is the difference to 2 alleles of a gene? So the answer there is going to be their base sequence. Okay. amino acid sequence, it would lead possibly to, well, it would lead to a change in amino acid sequence, but that's not on the allele. They've got the same position on the homologous chromosome, and the characteristic they influence is the same because the gene is the characteristic that they influence, so it's got to be the base sequence. Then 11, a couple have 4 children whose blood groups are A, B, and AB. Okay, now what you can do here is you can then work backwards. So you know if the couple have a blood group which is, if they've got a child which is AB, then one parent must have an IA something and one parent must have an IB something. That's got to be the case. Okay. And so then you can go through. So A, that's a possibility. B is a possibility. C, no, and D is a possibility. But with D, the only offspring they could possibly have are AB, so it can't be D. So then we look at B. Well, could you get an A offspring there? Because you'd have IA, but then you'd also have B, so that can't work. So it has to be this one, A. They could also obviously have had a child who had blood group O, but that wasn't given you as an option. Okay, so now we've got a process for genetically modifying a plant. So what's the name of enzyme 1? Well, enzyme 1 is ligase, and then because it's sticking things together, and then enzyme 2 is sorry, I've just got myself in a muddle here. No, enzyme 1 isn't ligase, enzyme 2 is ligase, and then process Y is tissue culture. I'm so sorry, lost my brain. So enzyme 2 is ligase and process Y is tissue culture, so the answer must be D. Okay, so 13, this is a bit of factual recall, amniocentesis and CVS sampling. The correct answer is C. So CVS is performed earlier in pregnancy but has more risk of miscarriage than amniocentesis. Okay, so then 14, the difference between detritophores and saprotrophs is, so detritophores are internal digestion and saprotrophs is external digestion, so the answer is C. Question 15, a safe, sterile, sustaining system is set up in a sterile, sealed, transparent glass bottle. What could be the reason that the plants fail to grow and die? That would be the lack of oxygen, which it would need to grow because it's going to need to have oxygen for respiration. Okay, so then you've got your carbon cycle here, and so which conditions favour methane production in W, X, and Y? So you've got to have the presence of archaeans because they're the methanogenic bacteria. It's got to be anoxic, anaerobic, so that's waterlogged soil. So that is B. So our friend the Biston betularia formed up to 98% of the total population, the dark version, in 19th century England. But from 1970, the percentage of dark form decreased significantly. What's the explanation for that? So that's going to be a reduction in pollution, resulting in the lighter camouflage for the light moth. So that's B. Then we've got our friend there, the foxglove, which was once in the figwort family, so it's now been reclassified. And so why were the foxglove moved into other families? And it was because of the DNA sequencing, which suggested different ancestry. So then 19, what is the recognition for both of the plant phyla indicated? So for the phyllocynophytes, they produce spores, and the angiospermophytes produce flowers. So the answer is B. I appreciate that we maybe haven't totally learned all of those things quite yet. So that's fine. So now we've got a transverse section of the heart. So in what states are the valves when the ventricles are contracting? So these are our atrioventricular valves. So we've got our tricuspid valve here and our bicuspid valve here. So these are our AV valves. So when the ventricles are contracting, our AV valves need to be closed. Okay, so both X and Y need to be closed. That's B is then the only option. So you do an idiot check. What is Z? Well, Z's our semilunar valve, which is the one going into the artery, which obviously needs to be open. So B is the correct answer. I'll continue the 21 onwards in another video.